All right. Well, everybody, welcome to the first episode of Girls Are Dumb and Guys Are Jerks. Um, First, I want to start off every episode of people getting to know me. This is a story of my life and how I came up with the Girls Are Dumb and Guys Are Jerks book. I'm putting out a book. Hopefully, in September, everything will be complete. So, Um, this hopefully can answer some questions, get some ideas of what the book is about. I have next to me, oh, first of all, my name is Sam Servin, and I have my daughter, Jocelyn, next to me. What better stage than to have your daughter ask you questions about your crazy life? Jocelyn, have anything to say?
My name is Jocelyn, but y'all already know that already. So,
Okay, a little bit about me. I am a realtor here in Arizona. Um, been doing that just over 10 years, pretty much only that. In the 10 years, um, married to Teresa Servin. Have two kids, one of them Jocelyn sitting here next to me, and the other one is Samuel. Jocelyn is 15, Samuel is 13, so he does boy things, football, running competitively, kind of in track, one third in state for the 800 for his first year running track. Jocelyn is more of the singer type. She's has an amazing voice. Maybe we'll get her doing that at some point, so you guys can hear her lovely voice, and it is amazing. So um, I don't have really many talents myself. I'm just my best talent is I'm 100% honest. So I say things that people don't or can't say, and when people hear me say it, they're like, "Oh, that's Sam." So that's my talent.
he's also a really funny dude, which it's fun to have a dad like that because any situation can be turned into a laughing moment and like he's really smart too. So he thinks really quick and he has a lot of wit and a lot of wisdom. So it's like perfect combination.
Why? Thank you. Um, Me, like she said, I was funny. I am quick witted, which me being quick witted, people don't seem to think that I have much thought behind what I say, and I think that is contrary to who I am and what I do. I think of things probably too much. Um, and then when I say something, it's something pre-thought of, and we, I just say things. I might say a lot of the same things over and over. She says I have dad jokes, but the dad jokes are funny.
They're not dad jokes. They're the least kind of dad joke. The only thing that qualifies them as a dad joke is because he's a dad and he told a joke.
I do call myself the short, fat, bald Mexican. So um, when I meet someone, I know people all around, or people know me a lot from growing up, and I may not know them, but when someone says, "I think my friend knows you," I'm like, "Really? Yeah, I, I don't know how to explain you to you though, to them to you, or me to them." And I say, just tell them that it's the short, fat, bald Mexican. At that point, everybody knows who I am. I don't hide it. My Some people don't like me calling myself fat, but it is what it is. So we're gonna start off every podcast with a little story that a true story about my life. Um, these stories, today's story is gonna be, and hopefully, some of these stories are gonna have some people that are actually in the stories featured in the podcast as well. So these stories today are going to be about things that I have gone through growing up. We don't have a special guest with this being the first one. Just wanted to kind of introduce us and who we are. Sorry, we only have one mic today. That will change in the near future. But okay, the story that I'm going to tell is kind of a. It all started with my friend. Sorry, my friend's name is Umberto, and he's very talented. He videoed. No, he took pictures on my wedding day, um, and he is a very talented video slash photographer. Um, so he was asked to take pictures um, of a magazine that was launching. So he called me. He said, "Sam, do you want to come take a video of me taking pictures of this magazine that's launching?" I said, "I'm young. I was young back then. I've changed a little since then, but I guess I should add now I'm a short, fat, bald, old Mexican." But so back then I'm like, yeah, let's see what we got. So the first time I went, he had Sean Marion. If you don't know who Sean Marion is, I would say, the biggest Suns fan that I know, and my friends, some of my friends that are Suns fans, want to try to argue, but it doesn't work. Um, but so I went and I was just taking a video of him taking pictures, and I was more in awe that day. Taking a video, probably not as strong a video that I could have been because me being a huge Suns fan, he was a Phoenix Suns player, and uh, I went and took a video of that. The second time I went with him, the magazine spread was featuring Ice T, the rapper Ice T. Now a lot of people know him as the TV show. What TV show is that? Criminal Minds.
Law and Order.
Yes, sure, or maybe Criminal Minds, but she's probably right. While she's looking that up, um, but yeah, that was the coolest one. We went. It was a club in Scottsdale, Arizona, called Seven, I believe. Sorry, the club was called Seven, and little small club, but in Scottsdale, we went in and we were hanging out first. It was just the uh, guy that was putting out the magazine, Umberto, which was taking pictures of Ice Cube and uh, the club. Kind of pretty awesome features. You would close the bathroom door, and that's when the whole window would frost. That was a while back, probably 20 something years ago. So that was a newer feature that I had never seen at that point. Go ahead, Jocelyn has an update.
So he's in the show In Ice Cold Blood and also Law and Order.
Which you said a Law and Order, correct? Okay. I told you she was probably right. So, but that was the coolest thing. He actually had his wife there at the time. Coco came. Um, Kind of not the best situation for his wife to be there. I don't know if it was his persona trying to play the part of a rapper. This was before he was in TV. Um, but he was kind of rude to his wife. So it was kind of odd that he was so rude. But truth be told, I do have his cane in my garage that he left there. Did you not know that, Jocelyn? Yeah. The cane has a shape. The handle was the shape of a horse. So it was a horse on the handle. You've seen, now you know that you're talking about. Now, I don't, to be honest, I don't know if that was really his cane or if that was a prop for the magazine. But yeah, but I still have his cane that was in that magazine. I don't even know if the magazine actually launched. So, but it was fun. I had a couple of nice nice things I thought I did in that video.
I mean, if he used it or held it in like any way, then it's his cane. And like if he left it there, it's his cane. And it's like sentimental to you. So
I'll take it. But Jocelyn is going to be here more for asking questions. If we have, just like she looked up Law and Order, she's going to be on the computer looking up, Googling any questions that we may come across. But that's it for the part of getting to know me for today. Our next stage we're going to go into is talk about the book. This part of the book is, again, it's called "Girls Are Dumb and Guys Are Jerks." Now, in my eyes, the art for the front of the book has not been completed yet. I've always thought it would be in big letters. Girls are dumb. I don't mean to cover your face. I apologize. In big letters.
It's just because girls are dumb, huh? You have to cover my face. 'Cause
See, that wasn't the intent, but it makes sense. So it was in big letters, girls are dumb, and in tiny letters underneath, and guys are jerks. We're also playing with a couple different options with them connecting and one hanging on to the girls are dumb. And but that's for the artist that is working on it. His name is Dennis, which hopefully he will be on one of the podcasts because he has some stories that are going to corroborate some of the stories that I tell.
I don't know who's doing that for one, but also, do you want to talk about why, like, you're marketing it like that, and why you want it to be in big letters, girls are dumb, and small letters, guys are jerks?
Yeah, I okay. I've had this thought, and I always joked that I was going to write a book about girls are dumb and guys are jerks. With my friend Danny, which he also will be on the podcast at some point. But it was kind of like, oh, I'm going to write a book. I'm not the type to write a book, so it was just kind of been there for 25 plus years. Then COVID hit, and I'm like, actually, rewind. COVID hit. My A friend of mine said, "Hey Sam, you being a realtor, do you want to get some blogs together and you can tell stories about real estate and I'll put them on paper so that it'll help get you out there as a realtor. I'll do it for free. I just want to get started in writing." And me being me, I said, "Why are you looking to do this and why are you doing it for free? What's your thoughts behind it?" He was saying, "I just want to get started in writing. I think I could make uh, a decent writer." And this guy is brilliant. He is brilliant who he is. Thinks on a much higher, different level than a lot of my friends. Um, so he said, "Yeah, eventually I want to move to novels. I want to start writing books." And I said, "I have a better idea. I do have a book idea that I want to put on paper. Would you want to help me do that?" He's all paused for a little bit, and he said, "I guess." So since COVID, that's what we've been doing. When it was slow, being a realtor, it was slow in times before it hit a peak. But when it first hit, there was really nothing to do for me, um, being a realtor here in Arizona. So that started me writing the book. I guess the question you were probably asking about, what in my mind did I go through, or what in my mind, or what did I go through that has me writing a book like this?
No, I was like, because you talked about like the captivation of the title, and I wanted to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, really shock value. I love shock value. One thing about me, some people think I say things that might be a little bit inappropriate, but not too inappropriate. Kind of get that shock value.
And like inappropriate in the way of like nobody expected it, and it's what everybody was thinking, but nobody would say it. That kind of thing. So not like in any other way. Just being clear.
Yeah, I pretty much freely speak my mind. When other people will hold back, that is not something I do. And all my friends just know when I say something that everyone else was thinking and that's probably not supposed to be said. Everyone looks at me and be like, "Well, that's Sam. He said it." So yeah, let's talk about what he said because it's probably has something behind it.
It almost feels you get away with it a lot, and like it almost feels better when you say it than like when other people say it, because then it's like, oh, it's Sam. Like you would be the least likely person to get in trouble for it. I feel.
Yeah, to give an example of what something like that is, if somebody's dealing with a relationship, having a hard time, I will ask the question, "Do you think that's something that you pushed? That maybe it started with you, and really you're talking about them, but I think you think it's something that you went through that it kind of started with you. Nobody wants to ask that question, but that's what goes on in my mind, and I'm like, I'm just gonna ask what's going on in my mind.
I will get so mad at him because, like, him and my mom, because they will say, like, the truest things and I don't want to believe it. And, like, so they're over here, like, this guy isn't good for you. Like, he's not bringing anything for you. There's nothing good coming out of it. Like, why are you chasing this guy? And I'll be over here, like, well, I'm in love with him and this and that. And this has happened one time, so don't even act like. But I'll be like, oh, I like him. He's really nice. Actually, you just have to get to know him. Nope. Douchebag, time and time again.
Yeah, I think it comes to the point where um, think all parents have this parental wisdom that their kid is going through something, and the parents see what's really going on. And I think I told her the first time, and I'm like, the fact that he has interest in you and he saw us for the first time, he didn't even approach us. That shows me something as a dad, and I think he should have approached us, and that'll start the relationship off. And I said, I don't see a lot of redeeming values, which you bring, which she's amazing. If it wasn't for her attitude, she would be perfect. That's how I truly feel. But she has this thing, a teenage girl. She has this attitude, and it is strong. She gets it from her mom.
I take after you. Don't even play. But I feel like when a guy is like, he sees the parents for the first time, the initial reaction is like, do I go say hi? Do I not? And I do think, like, I'm a very outspoken, like, not outspoken. I'm a very, like, out there person. I extroverted, there we go. Person in most scenarios. And so, like, I want the kind of guy that'll be like, oh, I see your parents. I'm going to go say hi. And then I'd be like, are you sure you want to do that? And he's like, yes, with all the confidence. And that's the kind of guy that I would want to bring home to you guys.
Yeah, I would agree. A matter of fact, when she was planning outing with her friends, and this one guy was going to be there, I said, "Hey, I'll drop you off, and I'll come in and introduce myself." And she's like, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "Why not? You were gonna go bowling, okay?" So, and she's like, "No, don't come in." I go, "Why? It'll be weird. Don't you think I will make it not weird? Because I mean, I'm pretty good at easing over weirdness, making it almost too weird, then backing off and making it comfortable." So, and she's all, "Maybe you're right." And I'm like, "Besides, I want to know. I want to know he knows. I want to introduce myself." So, does that answer your question about um, how I started the whole writing the book? And did we cover all that? Did you have more that you wanted me to cover?
I have more.
And I'll be honest, none of this has been scripted. This portion right here, all authentic, and she's willing to ask me anything. I'm pretty much as open of a book as as I can. Obviously, she's my daughter. I'm not gonna uh, tell her stuff that parents should not tell their kids. But I'm pretty much an open book. You can, most people can pretty much ask me anything, and I'm willing to talk about it. My wife doesn't love that part about me, but it's there.
Like, we will, there's times where we're like in the car. I don't know what we're doing. I think it's just me and him. He's either picking me up from like choir practice or like something like that. And I'll be like, hey, Dad, why is the judicial system this way? Or like, I'll ask him some like, did you hear about? I'll be like, did you hear about the girl that like went missing? And he was like, yeah, this and this happened. And we'll like talk about those kind of stuff, and we'll get off into our little own like, if the government did this and if this happened, then the world would be a better place, kind of thing. And so we're like, we're fixing all the world's problems in like a one little conversation. And it's like, we'll have those intricate, like, really, like, we have to think a lot for those, but it'll be in the span of like an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I joke about it saying that we just fixed the world's problems. That's how when I come home, that's me saying, really, I connected with my daughter. We connected in a real world way, and we talked about real things the way I think in my head, and I want her to be free to think herself about certain things, answer some questions that she may have, or say, I don't know, and we can look it up. But I want her to be able to think for herself. I have my own thoughts. Some people don't love my thoughts, but I think just on Facebook, yes, I'm old. I know I do Facebook. Someone just said to me this past week, it was when um, there was a Chinese American lady on the back of a U.S. quarter. And I said, why is there on Facebook a Chinese American person on the back of a U.S. quarter? And through conversation, she said, Sam, you're just stirring the pot. My response was, I am not stirring the pot in this case. I am willing to stir the pot if people are complacent, and you should too. Those are the things that most people don't say. I'm willing to say. Now, yes, I have lost some friends because I speak my mind, but I don't feel like I've lost true friends, um, or through times I've lost true friends, but they have come back to me. Um, So it's important for people to know that I'm authentic. To me, it's important for people to know that I am authentic. We're going off on a little bit of a tangent. I want to get back to the book. Um, no, that's you're fine. You're free to ask any questions. But my topic today is really going to be on. It's funny she asked that question because my topic is going to be how did I get to write this book? What did I go through? Obviously, I'm not going to give too much because I do want you to uh, buy the book, download it. I don't know if it's going to be in voice at first, but I want you to buy the book. Hopefully in September, I'm going to keep pushing that. I have to do some work to make that happen. We're pretty much all done. We have some refining. Me and some friends are planning right now a trip. I don't know if you knew this. To go to a cabin for a couple days and be authentically me because I there's that first chapter that needs to be strong. I don't feel like I've been authentically me, although it does tell the story. I want to tell it stronger and how I went through it. So, um, but that'll be a fun time for me and my friends to go out there, drink a little bit. Oh, which probably brings me to my topic about the book. First thing I should say before I talk to you about the book, this is in no way, shape, or form a Christian book. Now, I did grow up with very Christian values, um, which that has, because the way I was brought up has me thinking along the lines of what got me to write this book. Um, and I will reference the church in some point because a lot of the happenings were in the church that um, I was a jerk. Let's just put it that way. I played out the jerk part. So, but this is in no way, shape, or form intended to be a Christian pushed agenda book. It is just authentically me and my story. I guess you can think about it as what goes on in my crazy mind of however that book guys are from mine, girls are from Venus, whatever that my version of that.
I was trying to remember, but I couldn't. But
You have Google right there. You can look it up.
oh,
So, yeah, that's a little bit about what I am now. The gist of it, without giving up too much of the story of the book, um, what got me to write the book is I'm pretty much an average guy. I'm not well now. I wasn't growing up in high school. I wasn't heavy.
there are different variations of it, but like the two most common ones are boys come to Jupiter because they're stupider, or like, are you thinking of girls go to college to get more knowledge?
No, I'm talking about someone wrote a book. Girls are from Venus, guys are from Mars, or something like that. So, book somebody wrote. Um, I lost my train of thought a little bit. Oh, so things that I've gone through, me being a normal guy, um, being fairly conservative, and me talking to my friends, me being normal, and finding out what they wanted because at least the way my mind worked growing up in the dating time, girls just weren't uh, responding to just me being a nice guy, average nice guy, and saying that's what I want. And I wanted to know why. Because I was a nice guy, I was average, respectful, and I wasn't getting the girls for the most part. So I was wondering, I was trying to understand that because that's what I thought I needed to be. I wanted to be authentically myself, which I always, like I said earlier, that's what I always strive to be. And I wanted to be upfront and honest and the nice guy and respectful guy. And it just wasn't working as far as that goes out to me being getting the girls. Just put it that. Let's put it that way.
The name of the book is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and it's by John Gray. If any of y'all want to look it up,
Thank you very much. So that's what got me to think about this, and like I said earlier as well, is I think deeper than most people. What when most people go through something, I think deeper. I think big, and I think strong, and I dissect maybe too much. Excuse me. My wife kind of joke. At least I think it's a joke. I know she doesn't like. Sometimes we're if I haven't figured something out in my mind, and my wife is asking me a question, and I'm going through something and how to figure something else out, I tone everything, including my wife, out. I'm just thinking and thinking this scenario. How does this work? Not intending to, but not listening to my wife because I haven't figured it out because I'm deep in thought and how to figure things out. I have truly come to a conclusion without coming to a conclusion. I realize there is not an answer that I can come with, at least not right now with the knowledge I have, and that's okay. And I can no longer just submerge in this thoughts of what's going on, and I'm okay with that sometimes. But until I come up with that, I'm thinking of many different scenarios how things work. So, my wife doesn't always love that part of me. That's, I mean, I don't think I've done it much lately, but earlier, I guess when we were newly married, it was new to her. She didn't love it. So now she knows sometimes. Oh, he's just dealing with something. He'll figure once he's ready, he figures it out. He'll come back to life.
I swear he's watching, like, when in any scenario it could be, but when he's watching specifically the Suns game, I've seen him say, or like the Cardinals games, and like when that whole season is going on, he'll be saying, "Well, if they did this, this, and this, and this, then we'd have such a great team." And I'm pretty sure like a lot of people do that, but it's like while everything's playing out, he's actively thinking about ways, like solutions that like the kind of thing where if I was there, I would do this. And it's like every single time, like I think it's like in any conversation, that's what I imagine. Like you just like in your mind, just wheels just constantly turning at like the fastest pace, and everything just goes so fast, and you're like, and that's why you're like that.
Yeah, the Suns are a big passion, as I stated earlier as well. Of me growing up, I used to just listen to Al McCoy on the radio. They weren't on TV, and I would listen to the games when I was as little as I can remember. So that's important. I'll give you a little example of that, a tiny tangent. Back when the Suns had Shaq, and they had a decent team around him. Um, they the Portland Trailblazers had a bunch of young guys that they could not re-sign them all. They just didn't have the money to be able to re-sign them all. Shaq was doing good here, but my thoughts were we should trade Shaq, which is doing well, because what the Blazers need, they were really good at that point, but very young. They need a leader. They need someone that's experienced. They need someone like Shaq. And in turn, I love the Suns more than any player. For instance, if we just traded Chris Paul, loved Chris Paul. I love the Suns more than I love any player. So I was thinking, as Shaq was doing really good here, we should send Shaq out because we didn't have an extremely young team at that time, and in return, we would get a really young, good talent. Give them something that they need. Give us something that we need. Just how my mind works. I'm sure other people thought of it, um, but that's a little bit about touching on the Suns as she, while I'm watching the game, as she brought up things that go through my mind. But yeah, things that I have a passion of, I talk a lot about. But other things I could care less about. Some friends will come up to me and talk to me about something. I will literally say, to be honest, man, I don't care. Oh, that's what that going back to that conversation about the Chinese American actress that was on the back of the quarter. What I said to them was, I wish it was more relatable to me. If it was relatable, I would remember that. I don't remember her name now. All I remember is she was a Chinese American actress, which is fine because a minority, uh, Anna May Wong, and we have a quarter sitting right over there with her. If it's still right there, it was on the side of Mom's chair. But Anna May Wong, and American actress. That's all I really know. Doesn't relate to me. She relates to someone that would be 80 right now. Even if it was Bruce Lee, which I believe was American. Now I saw some Bruce Lee movies. I know who he is. I can think mean more to me. I see Bruce Lee. Oh, I saw some of his movies that he went through. Anime Wong, she's done. She's gone. Means nothing to me. And they're forcing, and they were like, you should be proud that there's a minority finally being pushed forward. I said, I support a minority being there. I just wish it was relatable to me so I didn't forget her as soon as I read about her. For instance, and I brought this story up to them. My grandfather, he was in World War II. Obviously, of Mexican heritage, Mexican American. He fought for America. He received the Silver Star 60 years after he should have, because back then Mexicans plain and simply did not get awards like that. They were overlooked um, for a big part of things that they should not have been overlooked for. He was actually up for the Congressional Medal of Honor, which some say he should have gotten. So I'm all for minorities being put forward. I just want it relatable to me. If he was put on the quarter, it would be important to me, but nobody else. I don't want him to be put on the quarter. I want them, if they're really trying to push up minorities and by putting them on the quarter, make it relatable to the masses, which Anna May Wong just wasn't to me. And I don't think no, anybody I talked to said they did not know who she was either. So it's not, the masses do not know about her, and it's a second thought. And I wish it was someone chosen to be relatable.
I think that relatable is like really important, but I also feel like if they put somebody like your grandfather on the thing, he fought for our country, it's more important than an actress. I feel like it's it'd make more sense to have somebody like that who's like who has an amazing story, like so that like when people see them on the quarter, they'd be like, "Oh, who's that?" and then look them up. Like right now, we're looking up Anime Wong. We'd like look up Tata and be like, "Oh wow, like he did this, this, and this, and he's still kicking it till 101, and he got this, this, and this, and that'd be cooler than this chick."
Yeah, right now my grandfather is 101 years old, so he's still alive, fairly healthy. He has some issues. Just at that age, your body doesn't work um, as strong as it did in the past. But um, he's strong. My aunt takes really good care of him. Um, so I mean that was important that you did say he was 101. I did not mention that, but yeah, you. I personally have no connection to him being part of a quarter. My thing, which would be getting him what he does deserve, which would be if he deserved the Congressional Medal of Honor, I would push and work for that. But no, it doesn't relate to anybody but us.
But it would have more meaning for him because, again, this is the United States of America quarter. And if he fought for the United States of America in World War II, that was like an essential part of history. So it'd make more. I'm just saying it'd make more sense. But like then again, not on a quarter, you know.
Yeah, I mean, me just being proud of who he is and was, and um, the ceremony that I was at, where uh, Senator John McCain at that time pinned the Silver Star on my grandfather. Um, so if you want to look him up, his name is Ignacio Servin. Um, check out his story. It's pretty amazing. Something that he would volunteer to do that could be so dangerous that could save so many lives. Um, but I'll leave that there. And another thing, this podcast isn't going to just talk about why girls are dumb and guys are jerks. Um, it's it's gonna talk about all kinds of things. I think we've discussed it a couple times. I have a crazy mind, and I think that quarter conversation speaks into what Jocelyn said and how my mind thinks. Um, and I just think on different ways. Um, some people politically don't appreciate it. I try to be uh, logical. I in no way blindly support any side. I will refuse to. Now I do get caught up in supporting my side and moving towards it. But after I think about it, I'll back up and say, no, I can't do this because it's. I find myself just pushing towards what I want to happening, and I don't want to be that either.
It's very like I don't think people like understand the weight of this. Like 99.9999% of anything he says, not anything he says, but like if he's talking politically, is fact. And like he'll talk about some like theories he has, but like he's done his research. There's like and it's not the kind of like research that it's like, oh well it could be flaky. He's done like he lays out the actual facts and he puts them all on the table and he'll base everything off of that, which not most people do. And even if you don't, you admit, okay, that was blindly. I was going in blindly, like you said.
Well, one thing I do, I put out scenarios when I don't know to get people to think and to talk and to tell me I'm wrong. But unfortunately, they always tell me I'm wrong without any fact, which I dismiss completely. I don't want to stay. I want to stay away from politically, um, but when I'm as I want to stay away from politically, I'm going to talk about coronavirus. my thing was I wanted some information, and it was so hard to find real information. It was misguided information, information on both sides with the agendas that they wanted to push, and all I wanted was understanding. I wanted truth, and I so therefore I said this and that, and people got mad at me. I'm saying, hey, I didn't calm down. I never even said what I think, but why this? If this, why is it this? If this is happening, so but that's the last point on politics that I want to cover. Don't really want to get into politics.
Yeah, I was not trying to get into very much detail about it. I was just saying like the like most of the time that I hear you passionate about something is that. So like, and I like that's the example that I knew. Like I could back my stuff up off of.
Which hopefully you take and say, I saw my dad do that. I think that's smarter for me to come from a point of knowledge rather than just spewing what I want or I believe. And I want to do that myself. And I'm going to research before I tell people how I feel. And I've had many, many people that are much smarter than me stump me, and I couldn't say anything. I just had to go along with what they said because they were smarter politically than me. They were smarter educationally than me. So I couldn't back up anything that they weren't saying. Turns out that they were lying, but they were saying that it's coming from fact. But we didn't find out things much later. So
So like I think that a great part of you is that you will admit when you don't know something and you won't like you didn't know like you said that like they were lying and like that but you also didn't know that what they were saying was a fact or wasn't, so you didn't speak on it because or maybe you did like but you didn't like say no you're wrong because you didn't know it was a fact. And I think that speaks heavily of your character.
yeah, I won't tell someone they're wrong if I don't know, and I don't come with a point without knowledge first. Um, so that helps. I'm very logical. At least I think I'm very logical. My wife might think differently, but I come from a place that I have to understand it and why I understand it and how things coming up. But if you don't know my wife, she is amazing. Everybody loves her. Um, she's called amongst some of my friends Mother Teresa because when people are acting a fool, she'll take care of people. She's actually cleaned up after some people that were acting a little crazy. She's actually put people in their place that needed to be put in their place to calm a situation down. Um, so that's a little hint on what I got. I mean, I'm an average guy, but I married up. I get it. And I mean, I make beautiful kids. My son is sports, little beautiful guy too. So he probably won't like calling him beautiful, but he's probably used to what the way I talk.
Oh, I was just saying he's a cutie patootie.
So yeah, the Sedvines, we all make cute kids. So that's gonna wrap it up for this segment. Hopefully it'll be better when Dennis comes on for sure. We argue about any and everything. He literally told me today. I left him right before I recorded this, and he said, "Hey, give me a call tomorrow, and we'll argue about the Suns." He hates DeAndre Ayton, and just because I don't hate DeAndre Ayton, he can't stand that. So, um, so he said, "Give me a call tomorrow, and we'll argue about the Suns," which I probably will do. But thank you guys all for joining. We appreciate you. Again, this whole podcast is starting because I am writing a book, and the book is called.
Girls are dumb and guys are jerks.
So one doesn't go without the other. It is true. Some people try to argue the fact with me. Only one person in the 30 years that I've talked about it has not agreed with me. So, but I've talked to many people, and they were logical too, and had to agree with me. So, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. We're probably gonna try to put one out once a week. So many to come, and look for guest appearances to corroborate some of my crazy stories that I put out. And then this was pretty tame. Today's story was tame. It was just a cool thing that I've been through. So
I'm just letting you know it'll get a lot crazier. Like you won't expect things like I just learned about these stories like probably a few months ago. And the funny thing is, every single time he'll tell a story, he'd be like, "My friends." I'm like trying to figure out which friend it is, and I'm like, "Oh, what friend are you going on the camping trip with?" Or like, "Who are you going to a cabin with?" Like, who did you do that with? And so like, I'll be learning with you guys probably.
yeah, I don't know. We'll think about next podcast, saying some of the stories that I will be telling, pairing them with some of the guests that will be appearing on. But you're in for a fun ride. Uh, First one. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. At least some of the information, getting to know me a little bit, getting to know Jocelyn, my wife a little bit, and have a son that is a sports guy. That's all you need to know right now. He just doesn't care if he's a little crazy, which he is a little crazy. But get to know my little family, and hopefully that intrigued you to listen to the next podcast, which will be out in a week. If you have any questions, um, you can respond on the podcast, and I will probably put it out on YouTube, Spotify, any other platforms that I can put it out to listen to the podcast, and book ready to come out in September. That's all I got today. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining and listening. Bye bye.